What's up, you pencil neck geeks? Welcome to the world famous Comedy Store. This is the Store Horsemen podcast. Oh my God, I got an echo going on somewhere.
That was
fucking
me.
Johnny.
That was me.
Already fucking up, man. First last week, you know what? I'm gonna give you a chance. I'm gonna just keep going. Welcome to the world famous Comedy Store. This is your boy the Darkitect speaking. To my left, for some reason, the jabroni Josh Martin. What's up, man?
Guys, you thought I was bad on this podcast. I wasn't here last week, and that was awful. You all should be sorry for what you did last week.
I'm not sorry for anything.
It was pretty fucking bad.
The guy who's sorry for a lot of things, especially when he drinks. The enforcer Johnny Scortus. What's up, buddy?
If you think for a second I regret any of the things that I've done when I've been drunk, I couldn't even tell you because I don't remember half of them.
That's right. That's right. And to your left, the evil genius Eddie Furth. What's up, dude?
How's it go? I didn't know I was supposed to be sorry.
You should be.
Really? Okay, that's interesting.
Apologize to me. Apologize to the fans.
I don't believe in apologies.
Y'all give me shit when I just say random shit to fucking throw off a conversation. You guys needed me to throw that conversation off a million times last week.
I'm sure you would have made it better. I'm sure that's the missing ingredient to that.
I am the missing link.
I'm sure that if you were there, all of a sudden there would have.
Yeah.
If we could have understood what you had said, I'm sure you would have fixed it all.
I would have forwarded / shit myself to get you to change subject.
Okay.
Throw in some fucking Cajun spice.
There you go. True enough. True enough. Well, guys, I mean, listen. It was weird. I mean, it captured the imagination of the fans last week as though that was like our worst argument. It wasn't even close to our worst argument that we've had on this fucking thing. Me and Tony almost killed each other once over Becky Lynch on a Patreon episode.
Yeah, no, and you and I and Cena and your stupid opinion on that.
Oh, okay. Because I was wrong about John Cena? The ratings haven't plummeted since his absence?
What?
What?
I never said.
Yeah.
Did you just stone cold what him?
What?
what?
But it's all good, you know. It's a hell of a burden to be right all the time, but it's okay.
Oh my
we
God.
move on. People's champion moves on.
I understand how that feels because I was
you?
right there. Yeah.
Do you?
I was.
I don't know. All right. Well, that's debatable. What's not debatable was that this was the first ever Monday Night Raw after the so-called brand split. And I feel like Paul Heyman's...
Did you really have to throw that in there?
Well, you know what's interesting, right? Because I had said a thing about half-hearted brand splits, and that's why they usually don't work. And we got two feuds that were across the two brands on Monday Night Raw, which is immediately problematic. But that's okay. That's okay, because, again, this week... I felt like was the most Paul Heyman-y Monday Night Raw we've seen since Paul Heyman quote unquote
Which are the
took
two?
over.
Which are the two feuds that went over?
That would be the Fiend and Seth Rollins,
Yeah.
and that'd be Cain Velasquez and
Gotcha.
But you know, if this episode of Raw seemed like a goddamn NXT episode. It was just all talent that you don't normally see, getting a lot of time. There was a lot of wrestling on this episode of Monday Night Raw.
Yep.
And, I mean, what'd you guys think? What'd you guys think of the episode overall?
I mean, I liked it. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
Like how you said, it was very Paul Heyman-esque. And
Sure.
there wasn't a lot of fluff as far as progressing storylines and stuff. And I thought it was good.
Okay. All right. Johnny? Josh?
I thought it was good.
It was
you know?
decent. It was
It was
much.
very Paul Heyman-esque.
You're the double beer guy, not the double opinion
There
guy.
wasn't a lot of fluff
Yeah,
as
both
far as
opinions
progressing
are-
storylines.
Both
you know?
opinions are the exact same opinion.
Yeah, right.
He sees double vision and he talks in double vision.
What'd you think, Eddie?
It was, I enjoy the idea that it had that almost superstars-like quality, right? When you'd watch on Saturday morning and there were some job matches and
There sure
some of
was.
the main stuff was sort of progressed, but it was also one of those weeks where I was like, oh yeah, nothing really happened in the last week, which can be a blessing and a curse for the show.
Well, we got something we don't normally get on this episode. We got character development. They said things about Sin Cara other than, hey, there's Sin Cara. You know what I mean?
They also introduced a new wrestler to the lineup and actually had him wrestle, not just these shitty promo videos.
Right.
Oh, you know about fucking blah, 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 EC3, blah, blah.
Yep.
They actually just presented a new wrestler to the audience by having them actually wrestle.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
Which is a very odd thing for WWE to ever do.
That Seth Rollins Humberto Carrillo match felt a lot like Bret Hart and 1-2-3 Kid to me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was just a solid, good TV match where the champion looks strong and he helps put over the younger, newer babyface as a formidable opponent. That's certainly, I mean, I didn't really know much about him before. It certainly put him on the map now.
Yeah, and I mean,
and even with the loss, it doesn't immediately bury a fucking new guy. You know, it's something like, okay, this guy, we got introduced to this guy. Now we can slowly see him if he develops into something by having him actually wrestle other matches and shit like that.
Well, he gave him a lot. I mean, the guy got off. He got some planches out there, some flips, some goddamn. He got in a good amount of offense. And, you know, they usually make their call-ups look like fucking dorks, like almost immediately. But, you know, this guy went toe-to-toe with the goddamn champion coming straight from 205 Live. Like, I mean, that was pretty damn good.
You know, I felt that way about the Drew Gulak, Braun Strowman segment from
You know
SmackDown.
what? I thought the same thing.
Like, I looked at it and I was like, yeah, clearly Drew got his ass beat, but he did not. He looked way better for it than it hurt him in any way. And he's a great guy, a great wrestler. I'd be interested to see what can be built from that, but he looked good in that one too.
Like, that's kind of what they did with like guys like Buddy Murphy and Mustafa Ali at first, and before they kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
So hopefully, when they introduce guys like this, it's not like a one-off and then they disappear completely and you never see him again.
Yeah,
For sure. And I'm glad you mentioned something about Friday Night SmackDown because I don't remember a goddamn thing that happened on that fucking show.
I tried to watch it and I got through maybe an hour 15.
Yeah.
And it was like, this is garbage.
The Roman and Shinsuke thing happened, and then it turned into a tag team match where they then referred to a history with Daniel Bryan and Shinsuke Nakamura I'm completely unaware of because they didn't do anything here in WWE.
Yeah.
And they don't have anything major from the Indies, right?
No, not that I can remember.
And the issue is that even with Roman Reigns not in the heavyweight picture, not in the main title picture, they're still pushing him like a motherfucker because he opened the last 2 SmackDown.
He's
with
looking
Roman
good.
Reigns.
He's looking good though. You know, it's that interesting period where they're holding him back like he's not competing for a title. He's just there having solid matches and segments and moments. I think it's helping him. I think we'll see if this is what's building to him either winning the Rumble or challenging for a belt at WrestleMania. I'm not sure where he goes or what they're trying to do with him, but I've been enjoying it. I've always been behind Roman. Obviously, I know what we're going to say about Eddie liking Roman Reigns on top of everything. While I've had issues with how they've written him, his matches, starting with that series with AJ Styles and then going through that summer, I mean, I like him.
See, that was my biggest thing. Like, there was a time where I was just to antagonize these guys all about Roman Reigns. But
Bullshit.
in watching,
You were so actually into him unironically.
but I was unironically because I saw how good of a storyteller he is in the ring.
Yeah.
What do you
and
mean?
Athletic as fuck.
What?
Look, to me,
After that,
What story do you mean? How tired he is? He's
Roman
so
Reigns,
tired.
Roman Reigns is the guy to me that, again, you know, I always approach it as the 9-year-old kid in me. The 9-year-old kid in me would be so down with Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Like, he is a superhero, like Diesel.
chest
Like
protector.
having a
I loved Diesel
I
as
hated Diesel as a kid.
I loved him as a champion. He was a big monster. He was cool.
so
Roman,
boring.
No, but
boring. That's a 7-foot dude. Move a 7-foot
I was
dude.
always a Shawn Michaels guy.
the
I mean, I loved them
WrestleMania
both.
where he fought Roman Reigns for the championship, that first one.
Uh-huh.
Watch that match.
What, AJ Styles?
No, not with AJ Styles.
Oh.
When Roman wrestled Brock Lesnar,
At 31.
it was in San Francisco.
Yep.
Yes, that match.
Yeah.
From beginning to end.
Oh,
is
they went at
so
it.
good.
It's fine.
They went at
No,
it.
and I've heard a couple podcasts that Roman said someone told him, like, if you really want to get Brock going, pop him in the mouth. And the first thing he does is sock Brock Lesnar in the face.
Sure.
And then Brock Lesnar goes apeshit the rest of the time. And that, tells that freaking story.
And that's when he literally says on air, "Suplex City, bitch."
Yeah.
That's when he coins the phrase that now sells T-shirts with road signs on it year round.
What would the 9-year-old kid in you think about Shorty G, as Gable is called now?
I think I would still think you didn't need to call him Shorty Gable.
I'm going to be honest with you. Shorty G is worse than Jason Jordan being Kurt Angle's son.
Honestly,
Okay.
it is.
We thought Jason Jordan Orton being Kurt Angle's son was bad.
Now,
I'll take that all over again.
Yeah.
Than to deal with Shorty G.
People call me Fatty J at work.
yeah.
Especially since look, he should be firing up every time and not embracing it, not being like, all right, cool.
Oh, no, look. It's so funny,
It's
right?
gonna get so over.
Well, no. I had somebody tweet at me like, "Oh,
Wait till he
Chris,
gets the hat though that says Shorty G and he wears it to
Dude,
the side.
Like he's
flat
from like
brim.
he's from like Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
he's slowly
Oh.
becoming like very
Oh.
Jersey Shore like.
my God, it's hilarious." I got tweeted at like, "Oh, Burns, sometimes you fucking you report the dirt sheets as though it's gospel." The dirt sheet
That
said
is
this
true.
months ago. First of all, I don't. I always say the talk is. And when I tell you the news, I tell you news from sources who've been 100% right every time.
Oh, yeah.
And this is another example of that. They said they wanted to call him Shorty G. It didn't look like it was going to happen because he was in like an actual seemingly feud with fucking Corbin. And then sure enough, he was Shorty Gable for a week. Then he comes out and cuts a promo of some of the best bullshit. You could have written it, Eddie. Like the best bullshit ever. Like if I was a moron, I would have totally accepted everything he had to say. Like,
What did he say? I didn't even hear this promo.
I mean, it was a whole thing about, people can talk about you and, put you down for your, no pun intended, I guess, shortcomings. And, but ultimately you got to be who you are and you got to embrace who you are. So fuck it. I'm short. I accept it. I'm Shorty Gable. You know what? Even shorter than that, Shorty G. And tried to make it into this like inspirational thing to where there were actually some pops for it. But fuck that. I'm not buying your crap, WWE.
It sounded
no,
sounded like a Bailey promo.
Yeah.
Almost like an old Bailey promo that's like, fuck you, I fucking hate you.
they should sell a tape measure with his logo
You know?
on it, right? A tape measure.
And it only goes up to 5 feet.
Right.
Oh my God, it'll be a growth chart you can put on the wall, but the max is Shorty Gable.
But it's just like, it's that whole thing of like, come on. If you're, I mean, do they honestly backstage, this is actually to a point you made, which is you got to give people enough rope to hang themselves with at least. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Never in a million years are you going to hear the phrase sound properly in your ears and your new heavyweight champion, Shorty G. That's just never going to happen.
Okay, well, but you might hear your new U.S. champion, Shorty G, or
'Cause the
new
US title just
Intercontinental
makes-
champion, Shorty G. I'm just saying.
No, I
Maybe,
agree with
you
that.
know,
And
but
the other look,
yeah.
I don't, without this name, because this is the other question, and this is a tough thing in every business.
Yeah.
Without this moniker, do we think Chad Gable was a main eventing heavyweight champion anyway? Because that's the other question. And if it's not, then you have to look at the idea that there are places in the mid-card or in the in-between spots for people like an Intercontinental U.S. Championship run. Or, I mean, X-Pac was in that Intercontinental European title run in his whole
sure.
career, and that's a certain spot. Was Chad Gable a main eventer?
Well, I think
Because
that-
this obviously doesn't help.
yeah. Well, I think
Yeah.
we'll never know. You know what I mean? I'm like, because this, who a guy I always look at? Taz. Taz was an animal in ECW. Biggest thing that they had, right? He comes to WWE, has an unbelievable debut, choking out Kurt Angle, and then Vince McMahon was just like, but he's so short. And that was the end. That was the end. There was no more Taz as an animal. And it's just like, Gable can fucking go. And Gable can be funny. He's shown in the past, with especially during the Robert Roode tag team, that he can actually be entertaining and charismatic in the back. Is he ever going to get a chance to do that? Nope. You know what I mean? And and we're not supposed to invoke his name ever, but like his skill level is right up there with a Benoit. I feel like, you know what I mean? And that guy was the world champion, and people believed it. But
What
you
skills are
have
we
to
talking about, though?
say what?
What skills are we talking about?
I mean,
Like tying
Killing your family.
yeah.
I think he's got a lot going for him. I would need to see more.
Yeah.
Especially in that connection with the crowd personality range of finding a way to draw me in. Because, again, Shorty G is a horrible way to go. It's just, it doesn't mean he can't overcome it later or change it back or there's some way out of this story. But on top of that, it's getting him talked about. He's in a storyline. There's a spot for him, and if he's going to fill that mid range, I agree with Johnny that maybe there's a mid card title run in his future.
I think so. And not to knock him or anything like that, but like I think at one point everyone thought Jericho was just like he is. That's why he left WCW in the first place.
Yeah,
because
but they didn't
he was
call
getting
him
squashed
like
by all those big guys.
They didn't call him like Canadian J. You know what I'm saying? Or some dumb nickname.
Yeah.
At least he had a real name. I mean,
He
that's
got
all
buried for a little while,
yeah,
though.
for sure he did. But
I feel like this is an opportunity for him to showcase who he actually is or wants to be.
yeah, but the problem is, it's like literally his name is making his physical stature his entire gimmick.
Yeah,
But
you didn't.
I
You didn't
think-
give Rey Mysterio like some short.
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
And
Okay,
he
I
won
think
the
you get over
champion.
it.
Here's
as
how
a
you get
fucking
this over.
short guy. You just let what he does in the ring speak for itself. You don't need to give him.
At the
a
end of the
short
day,
nickname.
he's still a fucking Olympian wrestler.
If you want this gimmick, and here's how you make Shorty G actually work for
I
you.
can't wait to hear this.
thugonomic.
This is where they pony up and pay for the rights. And his entrance music is, "I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller." And if he came out to that, we'd be like, "Shorty G, Shorty." We'd buy the
100%.
merch. Oh,
Okay, you might be honest. Son of a bitch.
By the way, I was reading Dirt Sheets, and there's another wrestler changing his name.
who?
It's no longer Shelton Benjamin. It's gonna be Long Dick Benjamin.
There you go. There you go. No. You're just reading Johnny's blog. You weren't reading the dirt sheets.
It's like it's on WordPress.
Yeah.
I was reading it
Angel
on his.
Fire.
I was reading it on his sheets.
Oh.
They're dirty.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Wash your sheets, Johnny.
Thick Dick Benjamin.
But you talked about like we've talked about up to this point like character development and connecting with the crowd. Have you fuckers watched NWA Power yet?
I have not watched
No.
it
It's
yet,
fucking
but I hear.
great.
I heard it's really good. Don't
Okay.
know how to watch it.
Is that
but
like
I
It's
heard
on
Download
YouTube. It's just
Oh,
on
it's just a
Showtime?
YouTube show?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just YouTube.
Oh, okay. I didn't
really?
know this.
Dude, when I say taking, I mean literally 80s wrestling, okay, and playing that shit tongue in cheek yet totally straight, and they execute it like beautifully.
Yeah.
It's honestly a triumph. Like good wrestling. They do promo. I mean, it's straight up do promo after the match. You come to the little studio area
Yeah.
and you get on the mic all sweaty and talk about blah, blah, blah. They're really
That's how I
great
feel
about
like here every night.
yeah,
or
yeah. They're really great about the character development. They're not shy in any way that they're basically making Nick Aldis Ric Flair. Like he does his promos in the suit, holding the belt and talking the shit. And it's a very clear delineation on who's a face, who's a fucking heel. And it's very much, no, this is a sport. These men are here to fight. And that's like the whole gimmick of the promotion, really, which is that, no. All these other people are cosplaying as wrestlers. This is where men come to fight. You know what I mean? And it's like, and with Cornette on the fucking commentary, and it's pretty damn good. I really recommend it. Highly.
I know The
recommend
Rock shouted it out.
Yeah.
and big. I mean, those are people that I've worked with. I know a lot of people who are working on that. I was there when Billy Corgan and Dave Lagana started working with Championship Wrestling from Hollywood
Sure.
to bring that NWA title back to prominence. To see it come here,
Yeah.
is awesome. And I'm really looking forward to getting a chance to sitting down and watching a couple of the episodes because I've heard nothing but awesome things
Is
about
it is it a weekly show?
Yeah.
Every
Okay.
Tuesday at 6:05.
On
They go
YouTube.
live and then it's on YouTube. I think
I might
wanna
watch some
say
of that
Tuesdays.
tonight.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that?
Tonight. Fucking Billy Corgan. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
People got it.
All right, sure.
What are they setting up right now? What are the storylines of the people? How's it like?
Well, the first big main event storyline was, former champion Tim Storm
Good dude, worked with him,
Yeah.
amazing human.
having a feud with Nick Aldis, and they had a match of basically if you lose, you can never challenge for the NWA title ever again. And then he loses the match. This week, the title of the episode was called The Twilight of Tim Storm. So I haven't been able to watch episode 3 yet, but that was a
I
pretty good
like
storyline.
that having an actual title for the episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
It
Twilight's
makes it.
not even
It's
that bad
almost
of a
like
movie.
it makes it like an episodic TV show.
No,
Almost.
100%, dude. And it's just like, I mean, it's old school studio fucking wrestling. They have a pay-per-view they just announced coming up, I want to say next month, and it's that totally sold out.
Oh, wow.
Corgan's doing some things with the National Wrestling Alliance.
Shout out to Dave Lagana. He's doing a lot of work there.
I can't wait to see what Master P does.
Oh, my God.
He bought a wrestling promotion.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
I mean, if the No Limit Soldiers make their return, my only request is that the West Texas Rednecks also make a return.
What 504 boys.
What did he buy?
I can't remember. Look it up, Josh. Yeah.
Oh,
but
God.
yeah, so like, he bought some small little promotion, and I'll look it up.
Look, apparently this is a boom time for wrestling, and we're just completely unaware that next year is going to be bigger than '98.
House of Glory Wrestling Company.
There you go.
House of Glory.
Glory
that
Hole
sounds
Wrestling.
like a porno production.
Glory Hole Wrestling.
But yeah, I mean, look, not to revisit the argument from last week, but that's what I'm talking about. There's so much room for different
I mean, that's
promotions.
not what you're talking about.
It is what I
last
was
week.
talking about, because the reason the brand split can work is they have to treat it like a separate promotion. NXT works on its own, so then could Raw, so then could SmackDown. And I think
So could Evolution. Bring it back. All female wrestling.
nobody would watch that show. I mean, do people watch WoW? People watch it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
People watch
Oh my
Glow.
God, they love WoW. WoW is.
It looks so fucking good on TV when I watch
Yeah.
it. I randomly watch it. It looks great on TV.
Legit, when I went to Comic-Con with, because WoW was at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
I couldn't work with them that day because we had a show at the same exact time. But
Sure.
somebody stopped me in the hall and was like, "Oh, you're one of the refs for WoW." Like people love.
Fucking A.
It's in that same vein. I haven't seen Power, but in that same vein, there's a very old school presentation to it. It's
Yeah.
much simpler and straightforward. They don't overcomplicate anything. You are there to have a good time,
Yeah.
and they deliver every single time. The fun matches are fun, and the athletic matches are athletic. So,
Because I think that's the problem with WWE, right? When they do things that would quote unquote insult your intelligence, it's not done tongue in cheek. I feel like WoW does that. NWA Power definitely does it. I mean, even like I feel like AEW does it on a lot of levels. Like that's the whole spirit behind
Orange
being
Cassidy,
the elite.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah, guys like Orange Cassidy or even Joey Janela. It's like we know. You know what I mean? They're in on the joke. WWE just does things and it's like they won't care. That doesn't make any sense. It's like no. You if you're not playing with us and it doesn't make sense, it's just infuriating.
the place you can see that the most for me is with this whole Rusev, Bobby Lashley, Lana storyline, because look, you could say a lot of things, and as we get into it, we're going to say them all, but the idea that you're at a restaurant and no one's acknowledging that there are cameras there
Exactly.
is where you get into this, like, okay, but either the cameras are there or they're not. And let's not either we're going to acknowledge they're there, or if we're never going to acknowledge it, then we should never reference camera ever. Like, how does this? That's one of those areas that breaks for me.
Hey man, I should hate the Lana, Bobby Lashley, Rusev thing.
You're going to tell me you like
It's
this?
pro-black.
I'm into interracial sex. What do you guys want me to say? What do you want me to say?
But
This podcast
Black
is
guy-
sponsored by Black.com.
That's it. That's it.
I watch Black.com.
Yeah, I'm sure
I
you
have a friend
do.
who works in the industry.
So does that mean if I'm against this angle that I'm automatically racist?
Without
now?
question.
Without question.
What about if
I'm just pro Bulgarian. That's honestly what I'm pro Bulgarian.
Yeah.
I'm just upset that I'm not with Lana.
Yeah.
Like,
Well-
I don't care what other guy's with her. Like,
Well, that's what's so funny. It's like the chicks you have a crush on are basically with dudes who look like you. Lana is
yeah,
with
no, those
Rusev.
girls are nuts.
Charlotte's older
something-
sister is
something about him.
with Conrad, who looks like you.
Who's
Charlotte
Keith Lee
is,
with?
Oh yeah, right. And Charlotte is with Andrade, who is like Johnny at his
Like, me at my
ideal
full
weight. Yeah.
potential. I swear to God, I could speak Spanish.
Right.
I could run. I don't get winded
I mean-
easily.
Someone who also looks like you because she got the haircut. Fucking Bailey.
I scissor her all day.
You guys got the same skin tone. She's basically you in high school because she's like emo now. Sad.
Look, the combination of Johnny and Matt Egger.
Charlotte,
combined
Yeah.
into one person.
Like,
Charlotte's
Cure
relationship.
concerts.
Charlotte's relationship with Andrade definitely reveals her father issues.
Oh,
You
well,
could
yeah.
see them on, like, you're like, oh, I really do get. Never mind. I thought maybe you guys would patch things up and it was good. No. I see them. I see them.
But yeah, man, Bailey is
Oh, man, that's funny.
basically an MCR fan, and that's her big gimmick now. Because yeah, she ends a miss.
I don't owe you an explanation. Now let me explain.
Right, 100%.
Me and Bailey are gonna go to an Evanescence concert.
But yeah, life sucks and then you die is Bailey's new message to the world and her fans. But
I want to know what was the little fan's name from NXT that followed her around.
Fuck, what is that kid's
I want to
name?
know how she's doing with this.
I know.
Oh, she's 100% on board.
But, no,
I love all
Oh,
those.
she
Cutting
cut her hair
herself
the next
now.
day.
right.
I love all those videos of like little kids crying
Literally,
when Bailey
yeah.
turned heel.
Yeah.
It's fucking
Yeah.
It
great.
was unbelievable. But also, what was interesting was the whole promo, which I mean is probably Bailey's best mic work up to date.
She should just start writing goth poems.
Yes, she's basically Raven
Like candles.
at this
oh my
point
God.
because her whole thing was, oh, nobody was there for me.
What about
when
me?
I lost the title, and nobody was there for me even when I won the title? Yeah, I was waiting for her to say, what about me? What about Bailey?
Break Riggs' fingers.
She's wearing a leather jacket. She seems tired. You know what I mean? It's like,
lethargic.
yeah, it's very Raven-esque. And but what rang weird about the whole thing was her whole stance of, well, nobody gives a fuck about me. Nobody was there when I lost the title, blah, blah. Well, Sasha's sitting right next to you, so wouldn't that include Sasha too?
Yeah.
So why are you friends?
Because they both been screwed over.
Yeah, but
And they just
Sasha
talk
wasn't
shit
there
about
for you
everyone
either,
else.
apparently.
So if we're going to go back to what we were discussing last week, this feels like a promo to me that was heavily scripted, and this is an area where Bailey was not. This is an instance where you need to give somebody a few of the bullet points, their general thing, and let them go out there and figure out how to execute that character on their own. And when we get things like that, what we want from WWE will become better, because these people have to understand what it's like to go into a crowd of 20,000 people and get your point over and make it make sense on television. And that's how you get the Stone Cold promos and the Rock promos. But this one is just overwritten and overdone, and she's not given the ability to develop as a character and
Yeah,
performer.
I feel
yet.
like that's the problem with SmackDown, is that you'll never be able to get those type of promos with SmackDown because of Fox.
Now
I
imagine,
think
imagine.
I think USA Network. I think that's something Heyman could really push.
So
For Monday
imagine
Night Raw
if there
is
was no
more
brand
Raw-
split and you could do it over both shows, and there wasn't this artificial precipice of, oh, these are different shows. Like, just let them go back and forth. That's
Yeah.
what we were talking about last
Well,
week,
'cause
is that
then-
just let them be anywhere. And
And-
that way, if they need a Monday night where there's more time and less eyes, you give them 5 minutes there. They go out, they learn something, and
You
then they
need
come
the-
back on
but you need-
Thursday and you put them in a match. And
I disagree with you. I think the brand split is needed.
I agree. Wait a minute. I disagree.
Yeah, I fucked up. The brand split's good. If it's a committed, the roster's too big.
It is.
So if you have guys on both shows, there's a lot of people fucking just wasting fucking time. With the brand split, you can give time, like on Monday Night Raw, we saw with
Yep.
2 of 5 guy
Yep.
brought up and actually given time to wrestle a match that actually fucking was good.
Yep.
And it was time. It's 20 minutes.
Look,
The brand split is needed.
I'm not going to disagree with the idea that there's too many people on the roster. Where I would come across is say, then we should have less people on the roster and just utilize the stars to build the major stars more.
But
But,
you
WWE is
They're not
geared
gonna
to
do
do
that.
two things that won't allow for that. One, they don't want stars that are bigger than the company. And that is something that has been learned when Hogan left, when Cena left, when Rock and Austin left. They don't like the idea. Same with CM Punk. When somebody gets over too much, that it imbalances as the company. And I'm not even saying I agree with their stance, but that their power is lost then when somebody is too big or bigger than them. The other thing is they're running live shows constantly, and that's where the undercard people are making their money. Like Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns aren't necessarily on every house show. They're on some, right? Brock Lesnar shows up occasionally. Seth Rollins is everywhere, but not everywhere all at once. So that's where the undercards are getting their their time, their dollars, their money. Like somebody like Buddy Murphy isn't necessarily featured on Raw every week. However, he's at every house show crushing it and selling one extra t-shirt because the live crowd really got into it and getting over there.
But you think they're satisfied with that? I would say no.
Who's satisfied with what?
I'm saying, but is that great for talent? If it's like, oh, I'm killing it
It's
on the
better
house
than their
shows, I
indie.
can't
It's
get
better
on
than their indie schedule because
I'm
they're
not-
getting paid more and working more often to
But
bigger
I would
crowds.
disagree with that too.
But that's like me. I get late night spots in the OR here at the comedy store. And I'm like, oh, I'm killing it every time I go up late night. I'm killing it, but I'm never working the road ever. Does killing it really mean it means something to me? Like it's my growth. But if that growth isn't given any place to shine, which is Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, then what's the point of that growth? That growth just gets you bitter at the company because the company doesn't give you chances.
Yeah,
to
but
fucking
you first
showcase
off, but you need to
that
get
growth.
better so that when look, Samoa Joe said this on Roddy Piper's podcast years ago. He said 80%. He said 20% of success is getting to the dance. 80% is knowing how to dance once you get there. Your late night spots are making you better so that when you get the quote unquote call up, you're ready. Somebody who's working the house, like Drew Gulak, worked the house shows every fucking night, over and over and over. And when he got called up to do the bit with Braun Strowman, he looked great because he was practiced at it. So that system is already in place.
But the issue is that after that match with Braun Strowman, if there's nothing to do with Drew Gulak anymore, what was the point of showcasing Drew Gulak to the mass audiences if the mass audiences will never see them again?
These are in between things, though.
No, it's not in between.
You don't need to break somebody in a single moment and have their career take off instantly. He
I'm
just
not
got a
saying
little
instantly, but
exposure. That's like saying, if you got invited on the road once, you aren't going to then get gigs every fucking weekend. You got better once. So Drew gets his spot on TV. Now he goes back to the road. He brings that experience there, and then he gets called up again later. It's an ever evolving process. It's never done.
That's why I think the brand split's good because you can call them up more often than like twice a year.
Yeah.
Every 6 months.
You don't.
And
You
I
can
guess
call them up.
I guess
every
the debate then
month,
is:
every
do we
3
care?
months.
Do we care about these? Do we want to see the mid carders get more time, or do we want the superstars to be able to have the time to develop into actual superstars? Because that's the trade off.
Well, I don't think that's the trade off. Well, I'm gonna address a couple things. You said that the house show situation is better than their indie dates, right? Not necessarily true. Mike Kanellis just asked for his release because he literally hasn't wrestled a house show, he said, in almost 2 years, something like that. And when he's on TV, he's only made to look like a complete moron with his wife.
Right, but that's
apparently
one
fucking-
instance. That's one instance.
I'm giving you an example.
Go ahead.
And you mentioned Samoa Joe, who has done all the work, was a killer in Ring of Honor, was an unbelievable draw in NXT. When he's on TV, can't ever win a match that's meaningful. Never does.
The same thing can be said about
was an NXT
Cesaro as
champion.
well.
And he's
That's
also
what I'm saying.
he's
On
in the
NXT,
Razor Ramon
he was
spot. He's that
unbelievable.
upper middle.
But
baby
Razor was in line for a world title situation until he fucking left the company.
No,
Samoa
he was
Joe.
not.
Yes, he was.
Wait, Razor Ramon. What
Yes.
world title shot was he going to get before he left for WCW?
He talks about it all the time that he wasn't getting enough money because he was the mid card
Yeah.
babyface.
Yeah.
And at the time, we can all agree the IC title was the title that you won when they were prepping you for a world title run, right?
Yeah.
And he was a draw as Intercontinental Champion. However, after the situation with Goldust, it was time to renegotiate it. He wanted more money. He had a bigger offer from WCW. He fucking dipped. So
How is that
But
a world
he never
ti-
won the world championship in WCW either. So.
And yeah,
no, he didn't but that was for personal problems. That motherfucker started getting drunk and all kind
What
of
I'm
bullshit.
what I'm not understanding here is you just
He was
said
like
he was
you.
in line.
I'm
The way
a little
I've
close.
always heard him tell the story is that he knew he was the upper middle baby, like Tito Santana. He's the guy you went to and either beat him and went on to the world champion, or lost to him and went back down, so he looked better for the next guy coming up.
like Rick Rude.
But there was no
For
time
sure. But
that
even
I'm
Rick
aware
Rude
of.
got a main event program with the Ultimate fucking Warrior. What I'm saying is, he was the mid card big baby face, but he
was also in that company at the moment when the business was sliding down. So his gripe was, I want to make more money. And Vince was like, there's no more money to be had right now.
Right.
And that, if we watch the trend after they left, was the case for everybody. They signed Bret Hart to a deal that they had to renege on. Shawn Michaels wasn't making what Nash and Hall were making. Undertaker had to take a pay cut. Jim Ross talks about being asked give up like 30 grand of his annual salary just to stay on. Like the business was in decline, so Razor's asked for more money, and his disillusionment with where his spot was had nothing directly to do with the idea that he was being misused. It's he wanted to make a more consistent and better salary that wasn't available because the business was declining.
Right. Nobody said that he'd left because of that.
But you said he had a world title opportunity that wasn't good enough.
He was being prepped to be in the main event. For sure he was, without question.
How?
What do you mean how? I just said he was the Intercontinental Champion, which at the time was the belt to see if you could draw as a champion.
And the way I always heard it from his mouth was, I was the guy who was the upper middle baby. I was never going to have a world title run, but I was the guy.
I've never once heard him say he was never going to have a title shot. Before he could ever get to that level is when he fucking had to dip out because he wasn't getting enough money. The guy fucking stole the show.
If they let him
Shawn
go,
Michaels
wasn't he on the back end?
What?
Well, if they let him go, wasn't he on the decline? How was that the ascent to the world title?
You just said that everyone was taking pay cuts at the time,
so
it wouldn't matter.
All over again.
Well, I mean, it's just
It's because Chris doesn't like to listen to people. He just has this thing in his head, and he's going to say what he's going to.
You have to say something.
I just said he was not being prepped for a world title opportunity. He was the upper middle baby. This is from Razor Ramon's words himself. He was the upper middle baby. He was not. It wasn't about expecting to be in the world title picture.
But
we're comparing him to Samoa Joe, which is that Samoa Joe is that upper level guy who either you lose to and he looks better for the next program, or you beat him and you go on to the next. And he had a few title matches. Razor wrestled Bret Hart in 1992 at the Royal Rumble. He was in that tag match with Flair and Macho Man and Mr. Perfect.
That was before he ever won a mid-card title, first of all.
And then when he was the mid-card title, he was the second to the top babyface. Right. He was never going to be the top guy.
You're just saying that because you said you heard Razor say that. But the fact of the matter is, most people, right, who won the IC title at the time eventually got their main event shot, especially if they were draws as an Intercon champion.
That's speculation.
No, not everybody.
No. It's not speculation.
British Bulldog never won the world title after that. Mr. Perfect was. Mr. Perfect was
Perfect. Perfect got hurt. Perfect had a back injury. You brought that up. Perfect got a back injury. Couldn't perform the way he did. Fucking British Bulldog won a draw as Intercontinental champion. Rick Rude got a shot in the main event as the Ultimate Warrior. That feud didn't draw. And Shawn Michaels was Intercontinental champion. Did definitely get a main event run because he was a draw as the Intercontinental champion. This ain't speculation, baby. This is history. This is what the Darkitect does.
And this is
I just need you guys to know that.
This is the issue with Samoa. Going back to Samoa Joe, is that you saw his potential in NXT. You saw his potential in Ring of Honor. You see him when he got injured and he was gone for a while. And he came back.
So is your contention he should be a world champion?
I think that he shouldn't be used only to just elevate someone else to a higher program, or to lower someone from a.
There are a million ways. Yeah, there's definitely different ways to write it.
I don't think you need that, but the thing is that
this is where I get confused. Sometimes we get into these quote unquote arguments that everyone on Twitter gets upset with, but I'm not really sure what the point is to begin with because a lot of Intercontinental champions went on to main event.
The ones that drew, and Razor for sure was a draw.
Look, I would be hard pressed to find data that displayed that Shawn or Razor did or didn't draw as Intercontinental champions.
So let me ask your personal opinion. You don't think Razor as an Intercontinental champion was a draw?
I don't have any facts or figures to back it up one way or the other. Like that's the weird. Like, what do you mean draw? Like
what?
Draw in what sense? Like when they put him on the B show, did people?
I get that you don't have data. I'm asking your opinion. The man who was unbelievably popular, the man who definitely sold merch. You can look at any of those TV shows.
Right. So here's what I'm asking, Chris. You're not even listening to my question.
Really.
My question is, what is your point ultimately? Because we don't have data to back it up. So me speculating on if someone's a draw isn't a real conversation.
It's not,
he just asked my opinion on if he was a draw. This is what I'm. This is what happened last week.
Eddie, I didn't make a point. You made a point. And I'm saying to
what point do you think I made that got you to the place where you
compared Samoa Joe to Razor Ramon, right?
No, you did.
No,
I brought up.
No, I didn't. You said that he's like Razor Ramon. He's the upper mid guy. That's why Samoa Joe hasn't elevated.
You did say that.
You said that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. So, and then I said, okay, but look, Razor was being used properly and was going to elevate before he had to leave.
So again,
for money
my
problems,
question is, what is your point that you're trying to prove?
The point that I'm saying is I'm agreeing with Josh, which is the point I made last week.
Wait. I'm sorry.
Last week.
I'm sorry.
History.
Every time last
history.
week. This is I don't understand. Like I have a real question. How many of you have been in the ring with these performers? How many of you have been sitting backstage when the decisions are made? How many of
Are you pulling the referee card for a while?
Absolutely. I'm asking Championship Wrestling from Hollywood,
What's the yellow
Santino
flag?
Brothers. I've been in class. I locked up with guys that you pay money to see. I've taken chops from world champions. I've been in the ring.
I always get in free.
I've been in the ring with people that you pay money to see and awarded championship belts to people.
Okay.
Okay? We're going to sit here and
And what does any of that have to do with the history that I just
the idea
schooled
that you
on?
are literally sitting here.
Schooled you on
You didn't
multiple
school me
times.
on
I
anything
did.
though. Chris,
Talk to me.
Chris, let's not forget that you called me.
Uh-huh.
Okay? This is the idea that you
Called
you bring me in.
Yes.
The idea that you will then not you're trying to prove a point that isn't even salient. There's no point you're trying to prove at the moment. This is where everyone was
agreeing with
upset with
Josh.
last week,
Remember
which is
when-
that you're trying to make a point that there is no point to make. You're just fighting to fight.
No. I'm not fighting to fight. You said a thing. I disagreed with you. I'm showing you why
And then
you're
you're
wrong,
telling me that you
and you're looking for
schooled
a
me.
way
Guys,
out. Just
guys,
like
you're-
like
when you
last
say
week.
you schooled me,
just
you're
looking for a
bringing
way
up
out.
no data.
But,
The
okay.
idea of you saying Razor was a draw as Intercontinental Champion is pure speculation.
I
and then
asked
you're
you
asking,
if you agree, and
but
you
you're
went, and
but
again,
there
you
is
bailed
no,
out.
There is no
You
way.
bailed out.
I think he was a very good
And-
Intercontinental Champion, but the idea that you're going to tell me that you're right or wrong in this conversation
It's not about
is a
right and
ridiculous.
wrong, it's just-
Hold on. This is the issue.
No, the issue is that you could have two different opinions on someone.
Right.
No,
Not-
Chris,
and not
okay.
according
Chris
to Chris.
never
Okay.
allows another opinion to. Literally,
You-
last
like,
week the
you
whole
can have
argument
your
was
opinion
my
on it.
opinion was I just don't like the brand split, and then Chris turned it into an argument over
I
whether.
did.
Yes,
I
your
asked
point-
you. I asked you when you say something, Eddie, you can't just say it. If I call you on it, we have
What
difference
do you
of
mean? You
opinion all the
can't
time.
call someone out when
Now
they say
who's not
I don't
listening?
like the
Now
brand
who's not
split.
listening?
I'm absolutely listening.
That's how a conversation works.
This
Just
sounds
because
Chris,
like
you
my
have no
marriage-
idea
my
how a conversation works.
I do, because
That's how
if
we
you're gonna
wind up with something
deconstruct-
like this. No,
'cause that's
this
all you
is-
did last week. You were wrong, and you
There's no
deconstructed
wrong.
the
There's
very
no
nature.
wrong.
Johnny can
There's
attest
no
there was
wrong
no
or right.
wrong.
Johnny,
I
and
simply
who
said
says wrestling's
I
fake?
Right.
simply said that I don't
No,
like
you're-
the brand
you're
split.
both
You
doing
then
it.
came at me with some point of like, well,
You're-
has it been done right? It's like that doesn't matter. It's just not something I prefer.
But like, for example, I can understand why you don't like the brand split. I understand that.
Totally.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
your view on it. I personally think it is good if it's done right.
Right.
If the brand split's done right, you can elevate more people to higher levels.
But that's
You can
also
sell
just
more
speculation because
No, it's
you
not
just said it
speculation.
hasn't been done right.
It's not,
But it's the
you
nature of
said-
conversation, dude. If you have an opinion and I have a different opinion, we talk it out.
Right,
with
but you're
examples.
each
you
time
seem to never
you
have
try to-
examples,
Are you
but still
kidding me?
feel
You
right
keep trying to
all
come
about
at me
everything.
with some sort of idea that if I have a different
And then when
opinion
you're
of you,
wrong,
that you can then be
and
right.
you don't have anything to back up, you just say, "Well, I wasn't arguing in the first place."
No, because you don't
that's-
argue the
you
same
can
point.
deconstruct shit all
you know
day.
what? You know what? Then
Eddie?
clearly you guys don't need me for this podcast.
Eddie.
I think you're. I don't think you're wrong. Oh boy. Oh boy.
This you didn't need to have this conversation. Now you have this one-on-one conversation with me, and that's way worse than
It's
Last
the first
week's
episode
episode.
of Black Josh.
swinging dick, Josh. No,
I mean, here's the deal, man. If we had it,
I get what he's saying. That he,
of course, I get what he's
at
saying.
a point he is more in this thing is he wants actual data to say, hey, if this is good,
Right.
show me the data that made this is good.
Totally.
But because this hasn't been done right, but the thought of, if you think about it, if a brand split's done correctly,
Yeah.
okay, brand split's done great, you can fucking have it, fucking elevate four younger guys up to mid card level.
Yeah.
Than just showcasing the same people over and over, and no one is elevated to that mid
Hey,
card.
you know,
And that's that if it's done right.
100%.
The issue is what the issue they're going through right now. It's not being done right because of fucking Crown Jewels. Crown Jewels is throwing all this brand split completely off.
Yeah.
And instead of just letting Crown Jewels, they're making their money already from Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Let them. They made their money.
Well,
They're not getting subscribers to the network because of fucking Crown Jewels.
Right.
So the Crown Jewels shouldn't be advertised on any of the shows, and you can help this brand split be a legit thing.
did you go give him his bottle?
Not happy.
Here's the deal.
But I did find a cookie.
And, oh, that's a plus for you. Here's the deal. I understand everyone's point of view. the thing is, we have a podcast. We have, like, if everyone just agrees, then we don't have a conversation, right?
That's true.
And so if I say something and you go, you know what, I don't think that, and then this is why, I can't just bail out and say, well, I wasn't arguing in the first place.
Yeah, but
well, no shit. No shit, there's no right or wrong. But ultimately, if you have an opinion, shouldn't you be able to back up said opinion? Do you disagree with that?
I say a lot of shit that I don't back up.
Right, exactly.
It's mostly my life. That's like the story of my life.
That's the whole thing. You're not going to challenge the fucking Darkitect, baby. This is what I do.
Not challenging
This is what I
you.
do. No, but see, that's
It's
again.
Why are you so aggressive?
But that's again. Don't deconstruct the nature of conversation. It's like, well, I mean, I'm saying, again,
some things are and some things aren't.
for sure. But
For everyone.
so what?
Can you not talk with the smell of
first of
chocolate
all.
coming out of your mouth?
or the sound of it when you go
What
into
the
the mic.
fuck?
All I'm saying is when we're talking about
it's
things.
Podcast 101, Johnny.
Yeah.
Don't eat while you podcast.
Who said that? What are you talking about? Where are your stats to back
See,
that
I mean,
shit
there's
up?
no right or wrong
I'll
there
back this
either.
up right
What
now.
if this was a food podcast?
Yeah, but it's not a food podcast.
It's not. We don't wrestle during the podcast either. So
100%.
we are a wrestling podcast.
Man,
Yeah,
I
man.
just don't like fucking all that bullshit.
I don't
Not
either.
entertaining to
I-
watch.
I
don't think anyone
100%.
that saw
And the
that
fans
thought it was
and a
cool.
bunch of the fans agree with me that this guy ain't entertaining anyway. So fuck it. Fuck it
Come
is
on,
how I
man.
feel. You know what I mean?
Now you're just pouring salt in the wound. There's no
Hey man, we do
reason
this.
to talk about how boring Eddie is.
We've been doing this for 2 years, man. Tony says some crazy shit. I say, you know what? That's not true. Here's why. We have a talk. We have some jokes. We roll. This guy can't handle being wrong, and I get it. It's tough to go toe-to-toe with the people's champ. I get it. I totally get it. And the real world's champion. Speaking of the real world's champion, Ric Flair opened the goddamn show of Monday Night Raw. You still excited to see Flair?
Nope.
Really?
I'm more excited to see what he actually has to say about Andrade. Like
Right?
when he leaves the room.
Totally.
Andrade takes giant dumps at the house, which is more like you.
But at this point, how much do you? I mean, is this
I feel bad for him.
yeah, I feel same.
You know?
Do you feel like this is a draw though for the Saudi Arabia? Well, for you, I know it's a draw to them overseas because it's like, oh my God, Hulk Hogan and
Anytime Ric Flair is on TV,
yeah,
it's always something to watch.
yeah.
And I have there are thousands of videos on YouTube that you can go see right now that prove that point.
What's your point?
I'm just being Burns for a minute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, prove your goddamn point.
Anytime it's on TV, it's fucking great.
But you know
that
what-
shit that happened a few weeks ago when him and Hogan were going at it, and
Yeah.
Hogan was like posturing, and then Flair turned into Ric Flair.
Yeah,
I was like, what the fuck? This guy still
yeah.
has that shit.
Isn't it crazy?
That's incredible.
He has the button that Kurt Angle doesn't have anymore, where Kurt Angle can't become Kurt Angle ever.
Not without a handful of Soma.
Right.
Turns into Super Kurt.
And then another point that we talked about was like these indie dates, right? And then or disillusionment with your place in WWE. So you seen this shit Randy Orton's been doing?
Did you see the post that he had with John Cena? There was a poster. Oh my god, it was so funny. It was like a standee for the movie that he's in.
Yeah.
And Randy Orton's like on one knee, like it looks like he's gonna like suck him off, kind
Nice.
of deal. And it's like I miss you, John.
Yeah.
And then like he
We
posted
need that sex tape.
And then like
Fuck Paige.
a day later, he posted like they're in a match like him and Cena's like on his knees like on Randy Orton's junk.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was funny that he was taking shots at Cena. I thought it was
Well, he's taking shots at the company at large, man. He was next to some door that said all elite clearance or something like that.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh
And then
my
he
God.
wrote, his caption was tick tock, tick tock. He tagged Chris Jericho, Luke Harper, The Revival, and someone else, I think. And that's led to a lot of speculation that he is thinking about making the jump after it's all said and done. What do you think he's trolling? Do you think he's working the fans, or what's up? Do you think that'd be a good move?
I think that would be the type of move that AEW would need to have to make a bigger impact on what WWE is doing. Like
Yeah.
that's like Hall and Nash going to WCW to get fucking Randy. He's
I
a
don't know about
14-time
that.
champion.
Yeah. Because, I mean, what's
He's
the...
Cowboy Bob Orton's kid.
Right. Because what's next? What's next for Orton in WWE? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you think they got long-term plans for Randy Orton? Like, I feel like he's in the Jericho spot where it's like, okay, we've seen him a bunch of times, but we don't know what more to do with him. He might as well go do something else, you know?
I think he's just like such a solid fucking WWE guy and such like from their literally family.
Totally.
And there was a time when I was working backstage at WWE and fucking Randy Orton comes up to me and asks me for a cigarette and we're just bullshitting.
Yeah.
And he tells
So are
me,
you an expert like Eddie because you spent time backstage and you've been around the wrestlers?
Me? Yes. Yes, absolutely. I'm a fucking expert.
All right.
So he said this was right
chopped by
before
Rikishi.
I got chopped by
Umaga.
Oh, Umaga. My bad.
Rest in peace.
Wrong
Are you down to take chops at Storecade?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Fuck yeah.
You know
I will.
Penta is a fucking master of the chest chop. Oh, you got
Better than
beef with
Umaga?
Pentagon, though.
I do.
Oh, that's
I do.
right.
I don't know. You guys let me know if I should bring it up that he literally told me to go fuck myself.
He big time Johnny according to only Johnny.
No. Not you guys saw it.
Well, yeah.
I was talking. We were talking. I was talking to fucking Lucha Bros. And I was talking to Ray Phoenix, and I was like, "Hey, we do a podcast. Would you guys want to do it one time?" And Ray's like, "Oh yeah, sure. Let me get your information." And fucking Pentagon like gets like like if you're talking to like a hot chick, and then like some dude comes and cock blocks you.
Yeah.
It's like, is this guy bothering you? Like that's what he did.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I was like,
But this was also
no.
the same event that you threw a hairband at the
I wasn't
back
even
in
drunk.
the ring.
This was before we
This
got
was
there.
this was pre-game.
like,
Drunk Johnny.
we drank in the parking
Yeah,
lot.
but-
What are we talking
But
about?
in fairness,
we got beers.
pre-game Johnny's not drunk Johnny. That's just normal Johnny.
Yeah,
That's just Johnny.
We got beers. We got tall boy beers at CVS and drank them in the parking lot.
I remember that, but I wasn't drunk.
All right, so let's see. Let's do this.
I wasn't like blackout
Let's
drunk.
see if we can get in touch with Chops for Charity.
Chops for charity.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
That is a thing. And we're going to see if Johnny Scortis can take some chops from Pentagon at Storecade for Chops for Charity. You
Bring
in?
it on.
Oh, yes.
Bring it on.
Oh, yes. And, you know,
The last guy that chopped me, you know what ended up happening to him? He died.
Yeah, but that was unrelated to you getting
You don't
chopped
know that.
by
there's
him.
no data to prove that he didn't die from chopping
He
Johnny.
could have chopped me. My chest could have like fucking fatted back on his hand. He got a blood clot that eventually
Fatted
took,
back.
fucking time to get into his head, and then he got a blood clot in his brain.
Oh,
Rest in
man.
peace.
Is that how you died?
He got a blood clot.
Oh.
But, Randy
blood
Orton.
cock?
Blood clot?
Yes.
I thought you said
clot.
blood cock.
Book. We'll ask Ian Edwards how you say it, right?
Cock.
But not the only one making moves. Fucking TNA, not even TNA, Impact Wrestling. Go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt. To finish that thing with Randy Orton, he was saying how Vince wanted him to be like a viper and all this. This was
Yeah.
before he started doing that, and he was like, "This shit sounds so stupid."
Right.
But then,
Well, also Randy's really good at working the fans and kind of kayfabing people and such. So we'll see what happens. But someone who did actually make a move, and it was reported like earlier that he had been made a really firm offer from both AEW and the WWE, was Joey Ryan, Jim Cornette's
Really?
favorite wrestler. Yeah.
the guy with the wiener.
Yeah, the dick spot.
How are they gonna put that on TV?
Well, I don't know, but he signed a 5-year deal with Impact Wrestling, and he confirmed it on his social media, saying that to him Impact has been the most consistent wrestling show for the past 2 years, and they're letting him keep all his indie dates, which were very important to him, and they're letting him be him. But do you know who also is going to let him be him?
Who?
That'd be the Store Horsemen, because Joey Ryan is going to be at motherfucking Storecade, November
it.
23rd, right here, world famous Comedy Store. We're bringing, for the first time in history, an actual wrestling ring into the Comedy Store main room. Brought to you by Infinite CBD, Storecade 1, 2019, November 23rd. History in the making. We got the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon Jr. and Ray Phoenix from AEW fame. Joey Ryan, the Dick Master, the King of Sleaze, as he was in Lucha Underground.
Steven Randolph's dad.
That's right. We got Brian Pillman Jr. We got the realest guy in the room, Enso. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we got
yeah.
David Arquette, former WCW World Champion.
Who else we got?
We got a couple that I don't want to say yet.
Oh,
We got a couple
okay.
that's called a tease, is what that's called.
Ooh.
See, I'm good at this shit.
And
I don't
I
never
know
have to be
them,
around
and
wrestlers.
I will tweet them tonight.
You know what I'm saying? So we got some shit going on, dude. It's gonna be fucking amazing. Probably a final flyer will be out this Friday, so you'll know what the full card is. And God help you if you miss this event. You're gonna miss something goddamn
Make
special.
sure you get your tickets. The floor's already almost sold out.
Floor's
They're
already almost sold out.
fucking flying through these.
Make it
tickets.
happen.
It's gonna be fucking bedlam.
It's mayhem. Utter
Yeah.
fucking mayhem. You know what I'm
I
saying?
was thinking about it today. I was like, oh, fuck. Are we really doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yes, we are.
Because dude, it just dawned on me we're a month away. A month away.
Oh yeah.
And the tickets
Is it
are already
23rd?
where they are. You guys gotta get on the ball. Listen, make it happen. And love to everybody who's been hitting me on Instagram and Twitter and stuff, showing me their purchase tickets. We got a guy coming from Canada for his first time to the Comedy Store just to come to this.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah. Shout out to you, Vintage 905. I see you, baby. But it's gonna be a fucking unbelievable event. I can't wait. I'm so excited. A lot of our wrestle buddies in the comedic community are gonna be there doing various things. Dude, I don't know what else to say. Gotta be at Storecade. But yeah. So switching gears from that. Speaking of AEW, the shows have been good. I got to watch the first hour this week before we recorded today. Unbelievable hot opener for the AEW Tag Team Championship Tournament between Private Party and who was
Lucha Brothers.
the Lucha Brothers? Yeah. Fucking great match.
The Lucha. I heard that they're going to be at Storecade November 23rd at the Comedy Store.
I was hoping
Ray
you give me a
Phoenix,
little extra.
Pentagon Jr.
That's right. One of them's gonna be chopping the shit out of your chest. We hope he doesn't die. But that was great. They had Kenny Omega and Joey Janela have a rematch from their AEW Dark show. We haven't talked about AEW Dark. Fucking phenomenal idea, if you ask me.
I haven't seen.
It's a great way to showcase these matches, and like what WWE should be doing.
Right?
You have these young guys in matches.
That can all go.
And that can it's another way to promote these fucking young guys who can eventually be maybe mid-cards, or maybe it takes the fuck off and becomes a star.
Or maybe they can do something. The problem with WWE, and Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez talked about this, it's like Paul Heyman's job on Monday Night Raw. They've given him almost an impossible task. He has to get over wrestlers that have been completely dumped on for years now.
Yeah.
Like, we got a great Sin Cara Andrade match, but in any other context, that match would have got over because the action was so good. But everyone knows Sin Cara's a fucking jobber. So nobody gave a fuck, really.
I think the biggest thing to remember when talking about WWE is that they're not even a wrestling promotion anymore.
Right.
They're a fucking entertainment company.
Sure.
Like Table for Three and fucking Road Trip and all these
And
stupid
the Marine
shows.
6.
Yeah. Can't forget the Marine 6. Johnny, we
It's
got to
like-
get you in one of those movies playing
my
a
God.
security guard.
I would kill a security guard who's shitty at his job.
Yeah.
Fucking, that's my wheelhouse.
But yeah, man, look, I hope that the trend continues. If anybody can get these guys over, it's Paul Heyman. I just talk about giving a guy leeway. Let that guy do what he do. He got a guy named Balls Mahoney over once upon a time, and that guy was fucking awful.
Speaking of changes that need to be made, NXT. You got to change it.
Oh,
Okay?
yeah.
NXT has to start touring in
yeah.
other venues. That I realize as watching it, I love the really dark, intimate vibe of NXT.
Mm-hmm.
But you're direct competition of AEW.
Yeah.
And AEW is just going to keep growing, hopefully, to the point where they're in big arenas like Monday Night Raw and SmackDown.
Yeah.
Why not have NXT? You're leaving a lot of money on the table with NXT. Because NXT, I guess, it's a development territory, but
Not
it's
so
not
much
really
anymore, yeah.
that much anymore. It can't be. That's why you have guys bring Finn Balor back
Yeah.
to NXT.
The fashion
Just to give
police.
another. This is why you haven't moved Adam Cole
Yeah.
or any of those guys or Shayna Baszler. There's guys you're keeping in NXT because this is no longer just a development territory.
That's right.
So you have to grow and expand the fan base of these guys.
And it's an energy thing, right? It's like but before they'd tape a bunch of episodes, right, beforehand, and then they could parcel them out over the weeks and weeks and weeks. Now you're asking an audience to come every single week, and it's a lot of the same people, and that's hard to keep that kind of momentum.
Yeah,
it's the law of diminishing returns. You know what I'm saying? If it's like, okay, we know every week I'm gonna go watch wrestling on Wednesday. That's a little tough.
Yeah,
that's a little tough to deal with. Imagine if SmackDown was here at the Staples Center every week.
You would be there every week.
I would, but again, it's not about me. I'm the mark.
This whole thing has been about you.
No. I'm the mark. You're never gonna lose me. I'm the guy who's gonna watch everything regardless. I got to report on it and tell Eddie how wrong he is all the time. I'm that guy. Fuck yeah. And occasionally you.
Oh man, I'm worried.
Nah, I'm not worried about him. He's fine. And also, what else this week? But again, there's so much good wrestling, man. Check out NWA Power. Keep supporting AEW. Keep WWE on its fucking toes, yo. Like they gotta, if they're gonna be number one and they're gonna be the goddamn kings, then they gotta deliver, man. And it's up to us fans to keep that pressure on them. You know what I'm saying? By supporting these other things.
As long as they keep coming out with seasons of Total Divas, I'm down.
You gotta start giving us the Total Diva review. What happened?
I haven't
to that?
watched it yet.
Oh, you son of a bitch!
No, man, I'm fucking sitting there slaving away.
And no,
today has been. I'm just sorry. A year I've been back at that fucking place.
Oh man, well, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. You're not gonna be okay at Storecade though, because Pentagon Jr. is gonna chop the shit out of you.
Johnny's gonna be so drunk that he won't feel the
That's
hand
probably
touching
true.
Johnny.
That's probably true.
Should I wear a La Parka mask?
How many first beers of the day are you gonna have
Me?
at
Probably
Storecade?
like 3 or 4.
Right on. Right on.
Yeah.
So have a beer with Johnny Scortis at fucking Storecade. Come on down, November 23rd. Guys, it's going to be history, like we said. 30 years in the making since the days of Andy Kaufman wrestling here in the Comedy Store in the main room. We're bringing it the fuck back. This time, we're going to do it right. Josh, where can they find you in the meantime, buddy?
At Josh Martin Comic on Twitter, Instagram, Peloton. I'm there.
Peloton?
Yeah, that's my handle on my Peloton bike.
Oh,
I'm working out November 10th.
Yes.
La Jolla, California.
Yes.
The Comedy Store. I'm doing a long set show. It's me, Lucas Hurl, Punky Johnson. We're each doing 30-minute sets back to back to back.
Nice.
It's going to be fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Come out, support. And, yeah, that's all I have going.
Very sexual. Johnny.
Find me on Instagram at Johnny Scortis. Find me on Twitter. Fucking don't talk to me.
Talk to me all you want. At Chris_please on the fucking Twitter. Most of you fans were on my side, and, because fuck Eddie. You know what I'm saying? Fuck
Come on,
Eddie.
dude.
Fuck him. Fuck him. That's right. So let's be friends. And never forget the Store Horsemen are your hookup. Holla if you hear us.
Can we go find this guy?